I mean, that's a big question. So far, we haven't seen any signs. Although in the equity market, some of these lenders definitely took a hit. I think Jefferies was down as much as 10% yesterday because they're exposed to around 100 million to this entity. Apollo also down 5%. It had lent around 400 to this entity via its secured credit vehicle Atlas. So yeah, there's already signs of jitters in the equity market, but not seeing
Right.
this spreading to credit yet.
I've done my amateur work on their chief executive officer. Some reports he slipped to Dubai. Paresh Raja, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Who is Paresh Raja?
Very good question. We don't know all that much about him. Bloomberg, my colleagues have done an investigation on him back in 2024 and showed that a group of firms that had tied to him, including MFS and another entity, Zircon, lent money in relation to property deals to a former land minister in Bangladesh. So yeah, the story kind of starts back there, but we don't know other than the fact that he is the sole owner and officer in the sprawling empire of MFS, and then this investigation back in 2024. We don't know all that much about him, but that's something we're chasing.
Talk to us about Market Financial Solutions. Who are these people, and what part of the credit market do they play in?
So they're a niche market mortgage lender, I suppose. So they kind of step in where traditional banks won't, and they provide short-term sort of bridging loans or other complex structures to help facilitate, like maybe there's an entity that wants to sell a property and buy another, doesn't have the cash to do that immediately. That's what's called a bridging loan. So to finance this, they borrowed vast amounts of money from traditional lenders on Wall Street, and then they're tasked with collecting payments and servicing these loans in a sense. So that's the business model. But what turns out, the allegations are that a lot of this money that was supposed to be going back into the certain bank accounts went into other bank accounts.
Right.
The court documents so far show that there's around 200 million that kind of got channeled into the wrong place. And on top of that, and this is what makes it much more interesting, is that it appears, and the allegations are that there's been some double pledging of collateral.
Right.
So, yeah.
Constantine Courcoulas with us. We're going to continue with him with his public service to his Greece, working with us at Bloomberg News. And I said earlier, it was a joke, folks. He's not distressed debt and cockroach reporter. That was kidding. Well, Constantine, how do you respond to James Dimon upset about the cockroaches? Mathematically, or as a former Greek finance horse, how do you respond to that?
I don't know if I'm in a position to respond to Jamie Dimon, but he does make a good point that, look, I think the examples are adding up, right? First Brands, Tricolor, now this, right? So I feel that we're in the point in the cycle where fraud is surfacing to the top, and people kind of pushed into corners of finance to get that extra return, and it's probably, in hindsight, looks like a bad idea for some.
And Paul, you turned to me and said, "What about Jefferies? What do we, First Brands, Tricolor, and now this next thing?"
Exactly. So, Constantine, I guess that kind of goes to the question of, do we put this in this? It's just a one-off idiosyncratic thing, or is there something more broader here that people are concerned about?
I think definitely. I think it's only. How many examples do you need for it not to be considered a trend? That's my view. So, of course, they'll tell you that each instance is idiosyncratic and comes with its own parameters. But at the end of the day, these are the evidence is just there that
is the tilt here towards what I'm going to call executive fiction, delusion, fraud? Or is the tilt here to normative leverage market forces where, oops, something goes wrong because of leverage?
it's where those two things intersect. It's when leverage is when you use leverage and then you end up in a fraudulent situation,
Right.
and then it's just the losses are just compounded.
Okay, we got to go.
And
Yeah, Constantine, we got to go here, and you got to get back to work. I mean, you haven't
Yeah.
done. You've completely slacked off here this morning. What I want to know is what's your biggest mystery as you publish to Monday morning?
Okay, so questions that I want to find out. Where is Raja? And more about who he is, because the allegations in court were that he's skipped town. The other one is kind of how exactly this went down. What precipitated the blow up exactly?
Right.
And then obviously who else is involved, because I have a sense that there are some other names that we haven't
Right.
unearthed yet.